So today is an extremely auspicious day, Asar Purnima, the very beginning, for those who follow Purnima system like us, it's beginning of Chaturmasya, fasting from green leafy vegetables for 1 month. And Guru Purnima, it is also Guru Purnima, appearance day of Srila Vyasadeva. And it is also the holy disappearance day of Srila Sanatana Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, one of the chief of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And it is also the holy disappearance day of my dearly beloved godbrother, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. So on the disappearance days of the great Vaishnavas, Srila Prabhupada always used to chant one very special song of Narottam Das Thakur. So if you have your songbook, or you can find it on your device, Jayanila Premadana. Jayanila Premadana Karuna Praju Heno Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatana Sonata Kahadasa Ragu Nata Patita Pava Kaha Mora Pata Juga Kaha Kavira Eka Kale Kota Gela Gora Natara Pashani Kutivo Mata Anale Pashivo Koranga Gunera Niri Kota Gila Pavo Se Saba Sangira Sange Je Kailo Vila Sangana Paya Kande Naruthamoda Sangana Paya Kande Naruthamoda Jayaniro Premadana Karuna Praju Eno Prabhu Kota Gela Charyatako Eno Prabhu Kota Gela Sanatana Goswami Ema Prabhu Kota Gela Bhakti Charu Jaya Vaishnava Thakur 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 Srila Sanatana Goswami Pada Ki, Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj Ki, Jai Nityalila Vishnu Vishnupada Divine Grace Lacey, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananda Guri Vaishnavrinda Ki, Jai Sri Rup Sanatana Rupa Bhattaraghana Sri Jeev Gopalava Das Ragana Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopiko Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhana Ki Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dhama Ki Sri Sri Krishna Baldao Dono Bhaiya Ki Jai Gau Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories to the assembled devotee. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. So as we mentioned, it is such an auspicious day, Arsad Purnima, Guru Purnima, birthday of, or rather the beginning of Chaturmasya. For those who follow Purnima system, it's the beginning. Now for 4 months it is Chaturmasya, rainy season. though we're not getting much rain, although the humidity has come. And it is the holy disappearance day of Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad. And as we mentioned, the holy disappearance day of my dearly beloved godbrother Bhakti Churu Swami Maharaj. So later in the day, there's a special program for Bhakti Churu Maharaj in the Balaram Hall, and there'll be a wonderful feast. His disciples are known for their cooking. He was known for his cooking. The disciples are known for his cooking. So a wonderful feast at 2 o'clock. So though I'm totally unqualified and most fallen, devoid of any tinge of bhakti and just begging for the mercy of the Vaishnavas, somehow they've invited me to speak on Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad today. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Vadati Svapadantikam Adadanas Trinandandai Vidam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisham Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So, although we're discussing Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad today instead of Bhagavatam class, still, since this is the most relishable part of Srimad Bhagavatam, Venu-Gita, I wanted to say a few words the Vaishnavas will permit. And just like yesterday, if you missed it, you missed one of the most luscious, relishable classes on one of my most favorite verses of Venu-Gita. If you missed it, you can go on Vrindavan TV website and find the old classes, or find it on YouTube. Anyway, you hear somehow how the Devi Shakti Mataji gave the most incredibly relishable class yesterday. And one thing was that I wanted to point out was that Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Vrindavan, he did Govardhan Prikrama. And do you know what his Govardhan Prikrama mantra was? Chaitanya Charitamrita clearly describes as he was circumambulating Govardhan Hill. He was chanting the verse of Venu-Gita that we studied yesterday. Antaya Madriya Vala Haridasa Varja Yad Rama Krishna Charanam Sparasam Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayotayo Yad Pani Yasuya Vasakanda Rakanda Mula. So there was another verse a few days ago, verse number 9, where the gopis are astonished. They said, what auspicious activities did this flute do? He's just a piece of bamboo. And he's relishing the nectar from the lips of Krishna, which is our property. What did he do? He's just a bamboo flute, just a stick. The one time, Radha Govind Maharaj, may he regain health somehow or another, he drowned us in the ocean of ecstasy by citing a verse from Surdas. Because Surdas, he gives the answer. So the gopis are asking, what auspicious things that he did? So Surdas gives the answer. You want to know what I did? From the very beginning of my life, I left all of my family members. I left home and established myself on the bank of the river. And then I just stood on one foot, and not taking any type of food, just drinking water from that foot. You know what austerities I did? I left my home, I went alone, stood on one foot, only drank water from that foot, didn't take any food. You want to know what I did? Then somebody came, and even I was standing on one foot, they cut off that one foot, they cut off all of my limbs, they chopped me into a little piece. You want to know what austerities I did? Then they took that little piece, and they stuck it in an oven and dried it for several hours. You want to know what austerities I did? You ready? Then when I was totally dry, they took a red hot iron poker and they burned holes in my whole body. You want to know what austerities I did? You ready? You want to enjoy Krishna's lotus feet? You do the same austerity? That's the austerities I did to get the nectar of Krishna's fruit. Are you ready to do that? So today we're honoring the holy disappearance day of Sanatana Goswami. So we have very beautiful Pranam Matra for Sanatana Goswami, written by Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. In his last work, Vilapa Kusmanjali. It says, Viraga Yuga Prayatnaya Apaya Maham Anabhipsamandam Kripam Mudir Ya Paraduka Duki Sanataram Tam Prabhum Ashrayami. Vairaga Yuga Bhakti Rasam. Rust, our great Acharya Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur translates as very tasty thing, ras. Tasty thing. Just like we see that food becomes very tasty if we add a little salt to it. Sometimes I have godbrothers and godsisters, they have some sort of problem. The doctor tells them no salt. I will die first. Luckily my doctor found my sodium low, he says, you take salt. But in the Sadhu Samaj, in the society of sadhus, they have their own language. Just like, we're serving apartham, pass the salt please. But in sadhu society, you say, pass the Ram Ras. Ram Ras. Paramana, the supreme grain, that means sweet rice. Or Mahaprasad means chaval, rice. This is the old language of the sadhus. Ram Ras. So this bhakti rasam is very, very sweet. Especially Vairagya Yuga Bhakti Rasam. This, we don't want ordinary Vairagya. We don't want to become dry stick like a Buddhist or something. But by taste of bhakti, ras, automatically we renounce. It's automatic. We don't want dry renunciation. Vairagya Yuga Bhakti Rasam. Very sweet thing, bhakti rasam, very tasty thing. Apaya mama nabipsamam dam. Andam, I was in the darkest of ignorance. Apaya mama, I didn't want to taste that thing. Very sweet thing, Vairagya Yuga Bhakti Rasa, very sweet, but I didn't want to taste. I was in the darkest of ignorance. Apaya mama nabipsamandam. Prayatnayar, but by force, the Sanatana Goswami gave me this very sweet Vairagya Yuga Bhakti Rasam. Prayatnayar, Payamama, Nabitsamandam. Kripambudir. He's a great ocean of mercy. Kripambudir, Paraduka Duki. And his unhappiness is to see others unhappy. Just like one Brishvasi was discussing with me how nobody has done what Prabhupada has done for the fallen conditioned souls, to free them from the miseries of Kali Yuga. He said the ISKCON work is doing, nobody has done like this. He said only one bogus fellow, we won't mention his name, except to say that he's opened a big hospital. This is Brishvasis appreciate. Otherwise, they don't have much respect. So I said, but hospital means that you got some disease. Why you got diseased? Because of your sinful life. You go to the hospital, you get better so you can do sinful life again and again. Huh? That is not feeling dukkha dukhiya. Sorry for those who are suffering. The real paradukha dukhi is one who frees one permanently. How to make a permanent solution from this hospital, from this being poor, from legal issues, from so many problems in this world. How to get free from them altogether, completely. That is Krishna consciousness. So this is the transcendental hospital, freeing everyone. And everyone comes and relishes. They may see other places, but somehow they come here, everybody relishes. Our 24 hours kirtan is going on by the grace of our dear Indra Prabhu. And there's somebody to talk to you. I'm astonished. Every day we hear the book scores because somebody's stops someone. You hear about this Krishna, take this book. This is the real Paradukha Dukhi. So he's Paradukha Dukhi. Paradukha Dukhi. Sanatanam Tam Prabhum Asrayami. He is my Prabhu and he's my only asray, shelter. Vairagya Yuga Bhakti Rasam Prayatnayar Paya Mama Nabipsamandam Kripambudiya Paradukha Dukhi Sanatanantam Prabhu Ashrayami. So there was a very, very high caste Karnataka from Karnataka, Brahmin named Sarvagya. And he was very powerful. He was the king of that place, actually, although he was Brahmin. And he got the title Sarvagya, Jagadguru. His name was Sarvagya. He got the title Jagadguru because he is so powerful. He gave birth to a glorious son named Aniruddha, who had two sons, Rupeshwar and Harihar. And the younger son, as the nature of the mature world, he kicked out his older brother and took over the kingdom. So Rupeshwar, he went off to another place. This is actually much to our benefit, eternal benefit. And his descendants have finally established their place in Naihati, on the bank of the Ganga. I've been there. Our old Pujari Purn Chand, he was from Nayati. It's opposite side of the river from Panihati. We were just celebrating Panihati a while back. And eventually one Kumar Dev was there, and he made his residence in Bangladesh, what is now Bangladesh anyway, in a place called Yashohara. Of course, now we know it as Jessore, but the old original name is Yashohara. And nobody knows exactly where, but somebody has, appreciating the work of ISKCON, has donated a large piece of land just outside of Jessore in the countryside. So they can't claim it as Rup Sanatan's appearance place, but they call it Rup Sanatan Smriti Tirth, the memorial tirth of Rupa and Sanatan. The most amazing place. I went there one time. Just all you see is rice fields and banana trees, and rice fields and banana trees, completely flat. And somehow that area is close to the Bengal border. So there's lots of devotees. So when you go down the road, then as soon as someone recognizes that you're Vaishnava, they see your tilak and your neck beads and Hari Bol, Hari Bol. It's the only place I went in Bangladesh. Everybody goes Hari Bol. And then suddenly, looming over the rice fields and behind the banana trees, you see this huge dome appearing, rising from the rice fields. And you come there and they have a beautiful temple, huge temple, and beautiful pukur, huge fish in that pukur, very beautiful place. Rup Sanatan Smriti Tirth. From Jessore, Rup Sanatan and Ballava, three sons of Kumardev, they moved to Ramakeli, which is near Malda. It's rather northern part of Bengal, and established themselves there. And we went there one time. One time we joined one of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj's safaris. They call it safari, but it's a safari. I went to that place, beautiful green place. And the king, he established so many big, what do you say? We say band, dams, I guess, to keep the Ganga from overflowing in that place. All beautifully green. I'm always jealous when I go to Bengal. It's so lush and green. Here it's so hot and dry. But this place is very, very exquisitely beautiful place. Gauda Desh. We're known as Gaudiya Vaishnavas because Gaudiya Desh, Gauda Desh. So there, Rupa and Sanatan, they established a residence. And from the beginning, they were great Vaishnavas. They established a temple there. Of course, now that deity is known as Madan Mohan. I don't know if he was known then. It'd be very interesting, as we'll see later. And they established Radhakund. So many things just to remind them of Krishna. And we saw one very tall tower. It's amazing, because everything is flat. So if you're a king, you want to have some lookout. Lookout means it has to be high so you can see if enemy soldiers are coming. So Nawab Hussain Shah, he ordered a secretary to build a tower so that they could see if anybody's advancing. So he went to Sanatana Goswami, because he knew he's a very intelligent fellow, very capable fellow. So capable, that was 500 years ago. That tower is still standing. The people told me before you could go inside and go to the top, but because young people use it for all their nonsense activities, the government locked it off. But used to go to the top. It's still standing after 500 years. It was so expertly done. So Nawab, he saw this. He said, "Who built this?" The secretary said, "I did." "No way. You're not intelligent enough." Nawab was an intelligent guy. He could understand. He said, "Not you. I want this guy in my ministry." So finally he revealed that it was Sanatana Goswami. So he approached, that time he was known as, some people say, nobody knows for sure, but some people's name was Santosh, and Rupa Goswami was Amar, and I can't remember, Sri Balav was his younger brother. And he wanted them to join his government. It made him a deal that he couldn't refuse. Either you join my government or I will persecute all the Brahmins and Vaishnavas in this kingdom. Srupa Sanatana, they weren't worried for themselves. It wasn't out of fear for their own bodily comfort, but is thinking of Paradukha Dukhi, thinking of others, that the Brahmin and Vaishnavas will be persecuted. And they knew that this could happen. So they had to join his government. But to join his government at that time, Brahmin society was so narrow-minded that if you became the servant and joined the government of the Muslims, you became a Muslim. If you became associated with the Muslim anyway, they were so narrow-minded that you became a Muslim. Even the Muslim would just sprinkle water on you, then you would be rejected from Brahmin society. But they continued their spiritual cultivation. Meanwhile, they were hearing about this Nimai in Navadvip. And they were thinking how to go south to Navadvip from Goda, from Ramkeli. Very beautiful place. And somehow they could never find a way to get free. They were writing many letters to Nimai to please come and give them spiritual advice. But they never got any reply. Finally one reply came. And they said, Mahaprabhu simply wrote that a woman who has a paramour, a lover, she behaves in her household duties very nicely. But her mind is always thinking, when can my lover and I meet in the night? That's all Mahaprabhu wrote. But they understood, you just remain there, do your duties nicely, but always remember Krishna. So if this can be done in a mundane, of course this is a mundane example, but this can be done in a mundane way that one can do his duties very nicely. That lady, she does her household even more nicely, so no one will suspect. We take care of our household duties, but always remember Krishna. Just like in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna said, Mama nusmara yujita. He told Arjuna, you just do your duty and fight, but Mama nusmara, you always remember me. And one day, one account is there that Sanatana Goswami had a dream. In that dream, a Brahmin came with a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam and presented it to him. Then he woke up and he found that it was just a dream. He was feeling very disappointed. But later that day, one beautiful Brahmin appeared and awarded him a copy of Srimad Bhagavatam. He took this as a sign from Krishna and he began to study very diligently. Then they heard that Mahaprabhu, that Nimai, he's left Navadvip, he's taken sannyas, he's gone to Puri. They were heartbroken. Already it was hard enough for them to get away to go to Navadvip. What to speak of go all the way to Puri? It's impossible. But somehow they were assured, don't worry. Mahaprabhu will still deliver you. So we know that Mahaprabhu, he decided from Puri, he decided to go to Vrindavan. Now Vrindavan is east. West. Vrindavan is west from Bengal. Prabhupada used to say Bengal is east, and the farther west you go, the more degraded it becomes. Do you get all the way around on the other side of the world? It's like I have one godbrother, he said when he was studying, he's Chinese background, a cockroach would run across his desk. We see cockroaches, we frightened. So Bengal is east, and the farther west you go, the more degraded it becomes. But Mahaprabhu went north. And actually he reveals in Chaitanya Charitamrita that his real purpose was to meet Rupa and Sanatan. Because this, saving Rupa Sanatan, has changed the whole course of events of this world. If Mahaprabhu had not gone to Ramakeli to save Rupa and Sanatan, probably we would not be here. Especially as foreigners, because we sing, Nana Shastra Vichara Nipano Saddharma Samstapako. Saddharma, if you meet a real Mayavadi, they can quote a few little verses here and there, but they'll, just like the Ganga, they will throw verses at you, that you have to be born in India, you have to be born in a Brahmin family, this and that, they will throw millions of verses. So Nana Shastra, they've studied all the Shastra, but Saddharma, what is eternal religious principles? Samstapako, they establish anyone from any part of the world can take to Krishna consciousness. And Mahaprabhu was going along, and thousands of people were following him. And he finally came to Ramakeli. And Rupa and Sanatan, they heard from Haridas and Thakur that Mahaprabhu was come. So they brought them to a place, we saw that place, there's beautiful tamal tree is still living there. It's like this beautiful tamal tree. The tamal tree is still there. And they fell down with straw between their teeth. If you take straw between your teeth, that means you're trying to present yourself as being very humble. Jai Sisi Nitai Gaur Sundar Sisi Krishna Balaram. They fell down. But Mahaprabhu immediately came there and embraced them. And told them that Krishna is very merciful to you. I have come here just for you too. Just to save you too. He said, very soon you will be delivered from all your material duties. Do not doubt my words. And then Sanatana Goswami is very intelligent. Actually, they had been given Muslim names by Nawab Hussain Shah. Rupa Goswami became Dabir Khas, and Sanatan Sakar Malik. As Sanatan Sakar Malik. But Mahaprabhu saved them. He named them Rupa and Sanatan. And their elder son, younger brother, Anupam. So somehow or other, Rupa Goswami, he was the treasurer, That treasury house is still there. In fact, we saw that treasury house. We did a drama just outside on the lawn near that treasury house. We did the drama of how we're going to tell about how Sanatana Goswami got free. But anyway, but Sanatana Goswami, he was the prime minister because he was so intelligent. That's why Nawab wanted him. So he gave him sick notice. So I'm ill, so I can't come. It was like the last few days I was also very ill. So he's giving sick notice. So Nawab sent his personal physician. He says he's not sick. He's sitting in his house, looks like a spiritual ashram. All these Hindu pundits are there. And they had these Hindu scriptures and they're discussing. So Nawab came there, he rushed in with his shoes on, rushed into Sanatana's house. You're telling me that every day you're sick. My visitors come here and told me you're not sick, you're studying. I have important things to do. We're going to attack Puri. I need you to look over my kingdom. And Sanatana Goswami, that was it. Already he was serving this Muslim ruler, now he's going to give trouble to the people of Puri and Lord Jagannath. How can I serve such a thing? He says, anyway, whatever it may be, I cannot do my service. He said, you must do your service. He says, I resign. You don't resign, I throw you in jail. So he threw him in that jail. Meanwhile, somehow Rupa and Anupam, they had gotten free, and they began going to the forest, and they were sending messages. Of course, it wasn't like nowadays we have Messenger and Telegram and Twitter. Took days for messages to go back and forth. And that they had found that, again, because they found out that again Mahaprabhu started for Vrindavan, but this time for real. So Rupa and Anupam were headed toward Vrindavan. And they met Sri Chaitanya returning from Vrindavan in Prayag. And meanwhile, they sent a message to Sanatana Goswami, that I've kept some 10,000 gold coins in the market. Because in the old days we didn't have banks. So we used to keep all our money with businessmen. So in ISKCON we know businessman means Vaishya. But in India we say baniya, almost like bank, baniya, bank, almost same. So we used to keep our money with the baniya. Because I have 10,000 gold coins with the baniya. You somehow get out. So Sanatana Goswami, he wasn't prime minister for nothing. He was a intelligent guy. He said, all right. He told the jailer, look, you're a very pious man. I want to go to Mecca. You have to release me so I can do my religious duty. And those who release the living entities from material existence, they get so many pious activities. You're a great scholar. You're a great soul. Jailer, we can understand, this is not a very high job that's given to someone who's very intelligent or saintly. But Sanatana Goswami had to use this diplomacy. He was a prime minister, no? He said, look, and I'll give you 6,000 gold coins. India, we never talk straight. He wants more, but he's embarrassed to ask, so they just make some argument. He said, but what is the use of your 6,000 gold coins? When I let you go, the Nawab will cut my head off. Then what will your 6,000 gold coins do? And Rupa said, look, you tell him I went to bathe in the Ganga, and I jumped in with my chains and was washed away and was never seen again. And I'll give you 7,000 gold coins. Okay, meet me at 4 o'clock. So he let Sanatana Goswami, released him. He grabbed his servant Ishan. He said, Ishan, just go, we're going to meet Mahaprabhu, don't take anything with you. But Ishan was nervous, so he took 8 gold coins. And they were going through the forest because they couldn't go through the main path because that would be the first place to look for him. So they're going through the forest path. Now, somewhere in the middle of the forest, it's called a hotel, but it wasn't actually a hotel like we think of. And the hotel owner, he had a servant who was an astrologer. And he said, some visitors are coming and they have 8 gold coins. So when Sanatana Goswami came, they said, please, we're mendicants, we're destitute, we have no money, you please get us through this forest somehow or another. He said, yes, you stay here, my house is your house. He fed them a nice dinner and promised to help them. Now Sanatana Goswami, he was an intelligent guy, he could understand. In Bengali we say, Ati Bhakti Churi Lakshman. Too much devotion is a sign of a thief. He said, why is this hotel keeper in the middle of the forest? Why is he so generous? Ishan, you have anything with you? 7 gold coins. Give them to me. Give them to me. He took those 7 gold coins. The innkeeper was there sharpening his knife. You know, this blade, the thing that whirs around like this. And Sanatana Goswami threw down the 7 gold coins. He said, oh, you saved me. My astrologer already told me you were carrying 8 gold coins. So you saved me some trouble. I was going to do a very sinful thing. In the night, I fed you nicely so you'll sleep nicely, so I'll cut your throats in the night. Anyway, you take back this money. I don't want to do this sinful thing. He said, no, if you don't kill me, then somebody else. Then he can understand. The innkeeper's servant said 8 gold coins. Ishan only gave him 7. So he said, Ishan, you take that last coin and you go back. Go home. As Sanatana Goswami continued to the forest, from not eating properly and being in the forest, he got skin disease, eczema. Pus was running and blood and so many things. Somehow he met his brother-in-law, Srikant, who fed him very nicely and, you stay here. He says, no, I have an important mission. He said, all right, you take this blanket. So he gave him a very nice, high-class woolen blanket, because he was a merchant selling these things. So Sanatana Goswami took this blanket and he went off to, arrived in Kashi, Benares. And when he arrived in Benares, he was overjoyed. He heard that Mahaprabhu was also there. So he found out that he understood that Mahaprabhu must be staying with Tapan Mishra, because he'd met him in Bangladesh before, and he told him to go to Benares and wait. So he was staying with Tapan Mishra. So he sat outside the house. And Mahaprabhu said, there's a great Vaishnava sitting outside, you bring him in. He went outside and he looked. He didn't see, he just saw this beggar there. You know, some Muslim beggar is there. No, you go and see. Because by that time he had beard. You know. Because whatever the Vaishnavas do, the Muslims will do opposite. Vaishnavas will have Sikha, so Muslims will have beard. Their shoes will curve like this, so Muslims curves like that. Whatever they do opposite. So he said, no, that is not a Muslim. You go and bring him. And then Mahaprabhu embraced Sanatana Goswami. He said, no, don't touch me, I'm untouchable. I have so many sources. No. By touching the bodies of the great devotees, we become purified. Mahaprabhu embraced him. We can't imagine ecstasy. And Rupa Goswami fell down and he said, Namo Mahavadhanaya Krishna Prem Pradaya Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Nama Gore Vishay Namaha. Mahaprabhu was very pleased with this sloka. And he told Tapan, you take this guy to Chandrasekhar and get him shaved up. Even because Prabhupada always uses it, this is why he always liked his disciples clean shaven. Well, now somehow it's become the fashion these days. All the young kirtaniyas, they have beard. But anyway, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, shave him up. So then he came back and he took prasad with Mahaprabhu, but he watched Mahaprabhu was always staring at it, his shawl, his woolen blanket. He could understand that Mahaprabhu did not approve. So he went to the bank of the Ganga. There was some old poor beggar with a torn blanket. He was washing his blanket. He said, please give me your blanket, I'll give you this nice blanket. My dear sir, you appear to be a respectable gentleman. Why are you joking? I'm not joking, I'm serious. You take this blanket and give me your... No, what are you talking about? Then he understood, the guy's serious. So he gave him his old torn blanket. And Mahaprabhu came back and he embraced him. He said, yes, if you go begging as a mendicant with a nice cloth like this, then what will people think? They'll laugh. Just like one famous donor told me, so I always fly economy, but I see all the people I give donations to, they're flying in first class. So what will people think if you're a beggar and you have this blanket? So then, on the Das Ashwamed Ghat, he spoke to Sanatana Goswami. Most important is this chapter, Sanatana Siksha, I guess it must be Madhya Lila. There's several chapters there. So important. The whole teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada, that's based on that part of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the instructions. Everything beginning with who is Bhagavan, that there's Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is supreme. He gives all the examples, the sun and the sunshine, all the examples that we know. Everything is there from the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami. Everything. Then on to devotional service and Shantaras and Dasyaras and Sakyaras and Vatsalyaras and Fani Madhurya Ras. Those teachings Lord Chaitanya, it's just, the end of it is so relishable. Most important, he gave all the knowledge to Sanatana Goswami, everything. And he gave him instructions that you write a Smriti Shastra for the Vaishnavas, that all the rules and regulations. And he gave the whole outline. If you see Hari Bhakti Vilas, it's exactly the points that Mahaprabhu made in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said this, you tell about this, you tell about this, you tell about Ekadasi, you tell about fast days, everything is there. So Nasa Goswami began compiling it. Later, our Gopal Bhatta Goswami took it and put it in an organized form and published under his name as Hari Bhakti Vilas. So then he sent Sanatana Goswami on to Vrindavan to join up with Rupa there. Or not, so Rupa wasn't there, to go there and excavate the lost places of Krishna's pastimes. Later, Sanatana Goswami again went to Rath Yatra, to Puri. And again, Mahaprabhu embraced him. He said, no, don't touch me. He said, still had all these sores. So this gave him so much trouble. He thought, all right, now is Rath Yatra time. You can go there, you can watch on TV. You see how much arrangement, how many soldiers and police are there to make sure nobody gets near those wheels. This was apparently not an extraordinary thing that somebody would get crushed under the wheels. So Sanatana Goswami, he was thinking, the Rath Yatra will come, I will throw myself on the wheel and be smashed by the wheels of Lord Jagannath, I'll be liberated. Because anyone who's killed by the wheels of Lord Jagannath, he's liberated from this world. He just kept this in his heart, he didn't mention to anyone. And one day Mahaprabhu came, because he didn't enter Puri temple. Those of us like me, sometimes we feel bad we can't go in, but we're in company with Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Haridas Thakur, they never went in. So we're in good company, we have nothing to complain about. So he came to see Sanatana Goswami, he embraced him. And he says, Sanatan, this body does not belong to you. You have surrendered to Krishna. This is Krishna's body. You remember this. One great Vaishnava told me that, because one of my godbrothers had committed suicide here in Vrindavan. He said, don't do this. This is Guru Aparad. Because now you're taking Diksha. This body belongs to Guru. It's not yours that you can destroy it. It's destroying Guru's property. You just take shelter of the holy name of the Vaishnavas. It's never as bad as it looks. We have so many struggles, but if you read Lilamrita, just like we were discussing the other day in Bhakti-yoga went through so many troubles and setbacks. Prabhupada went through so many troubles, he just kept going, just keep going. He said, Sanatan, you don't have, I have many things to do through your body. And then he embraced him again, and all his sores went away. Then he told him to go to Vrindavan, you establish the places, you find out Madan Mohan, and establish a temple for him. So Sanatana Goswami came here. Another instruction he gave was that I will come again to Vrindavan. Of course, we know Mahaprabhu never came, but he told him, you find a nice place for me. So he saw that hill where Madan Mohan temple, that's called Dwadasha Jatila. That's a very lonely, peaceful spot looking over Jamuna. Jamuna is to flow there. What we walk on the Prikrama Marg, that was the old path of the Jamuna. So he'd heard that somehow Madan Mohan was staying in some Brahmin's house in Mathura. So sometimes he would go to Mathura for Madhukari. He's walking down the streets, he saw this young cowherd boy who smiled at him and dashed down the street and ran in someone's doorway. And Sanatana Goswami dashed, he came inside that house and he saw that there was Madan Mohan and all that Brahmin. He had 3 sons. They were playing with him just like he was one of their brothers. No respect, they're just treating him like a brother. The wife was there cooking, she hadn't even taken a bath. It's like we can remember in our childhood, it's too cold, so mother just puts on a bathrobe and she's cooking some oatmeal for us or something. And Sanatana Goswami said, what are you doing? This is not your brother, you can't play with him like that. And you haven't even taken a bath, you're cooking for the Lord, what is this? There's so many rules and regulations. So that Brahmin, his name was Purushottam Chobe. He fell on his feet, he said, oh Gosai, please forgive us. We will follow all the rules and regulations from now. And then Sanatana Goswami went home and he thought, what to do? So then in the night, Madan Mohan came to him in a dream. He said, I was enjoying life so sweetly with my Chobeji family. Now you put all this rule and regulation. It's no fun. So he ran back in the morning, he tried to fall at Chobe's feet, but Chobe fell at his first. He said, Chobeji, whatever I said yesterday about rule, you forget about all the rules and regulations. Lord is happy with your service. He said, no, he's not. He wants to join you. Yeah, he said, I have 3 sons to take care of me in my old age. You have nobody. You please take this Madan Mohan. So somehow they got the Madan Mohan Didi there to Dwadasa Jatila. There was no temple. He just leaned him up against a tree and was worshipping like that. And Sanatana Goswami, it wasn't like nowadays. Almost every day we have bandara. There's big feast. Even for others, not just us, but other. There's so many sadhus. They just wander from bandara to bandara, one feast to the next. There wasn't anything here. There was no Eloi Bazaar. There was no nothing. No Bharati foods. No MBT restaurant. No Govindas. So Goswami just got some atta, some wheat flour. He mixed it with Jamuna water. He got some cow dung. He set it on fire. He'd make little balls and put it in the fire and turn it around with a stick, and then he'd break off all the burn spots. We call bhati. And he would offer, after breaking off all the burned black spots, he would offer it to Madan Mohan. And Prabhupada said that Madan Mohan began to cry, Are Gosai, you're offering me this old dry chapati ball, this old bhati every day. You don't even put some salt. And Sanatana Goswami said, look, I'm old man, whatever I get, I offer to you. And first thing is, you have to learn how to control your senses. If you're not satisfied with what's easily got, then you'll never be satisfied in life. Of course, we can't imitate these dealings between the Lord and His pure devotees. He said, now you're asking for salt. The next day you say, oh, Gosai, it gets stuck in my throat. Can you put a little ghee? Then you want sweet rice, and you want so many things. Where am I going to get all this thing? So Prabhupada said, because he's offered with love. You can hear in the tape, Prabhupada begins to cry, Krishna, I'm so rotten, you please take this thing. And Prabhupada begins to cry. Because it's offered with love, then Krishna has to accept this old dry chapati ball with no salt. Then one day, one fellow named Kapoor, if you meet anybody named Kapoor, then you know he's from Punjab. So he was sailing down the Jamuna to Agra. The big mela was going on there. He was going to sell all his goods in Agra and make a big profit. And somehow, just at that point, just below Madan Mohan temple, of course temple wasn't there, just below that Dwarasa Tila, Tila means hill, his boat got stuck on the sand. And he was crying and crying, because now what to do? And so a little cowherd boy was there. He said, well, there's a sadhu named Sanatana Goswami. He lives on top of this hill. He can help you. Because in India, people think sadhu means yadu. Sadhu means jadu, magic. They don't go for the sadhu for real blessing. They want to get some benefit, material benefit. So he came on top of the hill. He said, oh, Gosai, my boat is stuck. This little cowherd boy told me you could help me. Who told you could help? And he said, this cowherd boy? And Sanatana Goswami looked, and he looked at Madan Mohan. He said, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm just an ordinary Jeev. What can I do? He's a Supreme Brahm. He can help. What can I do? Then he looked at Madan Mohan, and he saw that he was just a deity. And he fell at Gosai's feet, and then somehow or other the water in the Jamuna rose and the boat became free. Is Gosai, what do you want? You want silks? You want gold? You want jewelry? Is it, no, I don't want anything, I don't want anything. He said, no, you take something. He said, what is in your boat? He said, salt. He said, then you break off a piece. This guy's always crying for some salt, so you break off a piece. So then he arrived in Agra at the height of the Mela. He sold all of his goods, the highest possible price. He came back. He dedicated everything at the lotus feet of Sanatana Goswami. Became Ramdas, the disciple of, and he built this beautiful Madan Mohan temple, which is the first temple of the modern era, in Chaitanya era in Vrindavan. It's the icon of Vrindavan. And he arranged for regular bhog offering, very opulent bhog offering. He arranged a kitchen and cooks. He arranged everything. But still today, they offer old dry bhatis with no salt. And then they offered them to Sanatana Goswami Samadhi. So if you want to get some Maha, then you have to go to the Samadhi. And Babas there are always very, very kind. If you ask, they'll give you an old dry bhati, Maha. So there's many stories of Sanatana Goswami. We know about Sanatana and the touchstone when poor guy was worshipping Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva promised the most valuable thing. He said, yes, you want the most valuable thing, go to Sanatana Goswami. So he came there. He said, oh Gosai, Shiva promised me the most valuable thing. He said, come to see you. He said, you want a touchstone? He said, what's a touchstone? Whatever metal you touch, it turns to gold. Really? He said, yeah, it's in the trash pile there. Then he got to the trash pile, he touched some kartals, bing, they became solid gold. And they thought, this guy's keeping it in the trash. Such a valuable thing, what does he have? He said, what are you're trying to cheat me, you have something more valuable. You're just keeping this in the trash. He said, throw it in the Jamuna. What? Whatever metal it touches, bing, turns to gold. He said, throw it in the Jamuna. So he tossed it in the Jamuna. Sanatana Goswami, sit down and chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare. So there's so many stories. Sanatana Goswami was moving around Braj. We sing in that Sad Goswami Astaka. They were staying under one tree, another night another tree. But there was some places he had bhajan kutirs, like in Nandagaon. And also he had a bhajan kutir in Chakleshwar Mahadev. Just in front of the Chakleshwar temple is it. And every day he would do prikama of Govardhan. Even in his old age. We can't imagine, we're so sinful these days, our bodies get old, that's it. I can't do Govardhan prikama anymore. So, but even in his old age he was still doing, because they're pure lives. So one day, this cowherd boy jumped off the hill and said, Baba, why are you doing this? He said, this is my vow, I must every day, before eating, you can't imagine taking Govardhan prikama without eating. Before drinking water, eating, I must complete my prikama. He said, no, now you're too old, you stop all this. He said, no. Then he revealed himself as Krishna himself. And he took a stone from the hill, he put his footprint, he put his flute print, his cowherd stick, and his calf put her footprint in the stone. The stone melted and all these prints were there. He said, you go around this 4 times, it's as good as prikama. He gave that stone to Sanatana Goswami. You can see that stone. Of course, there's some dispute. Somebody says the real one is in Jaipur, somebody says the real one is here. Anyway, one of them is real. So you have to go see both of them. And every year on the Guru Purnima day, like today, then all the Gaudiya Vaishnava sadhus used to come to Chakleshwar to see Sanatana Goswami. And he would take them prikama of Manasi Ganga. Because Chakleshwar is right on the side of Manasi Ganga. And because even so many places just in Manasi Ganga that Sanatana Goswami would take them on prikama of these places. So they all came on Guru Purnima Day, and they all shouted out, Radhe Sham, Nitai Gaur. But there was no answer. And all the Vaishnavas looked inside. Hoi, hoi, hoi. They saw Sanatana Goswami had left this world. on this holy day, 400 and something years ago. So all the Vaishnavas were crying. They took the body, they brought it here to Vrindavan. They placed him at the lotus feet of his dear Madan Mohan, and established a samadhi there. Govinda Maharaj told us one day that on Sanatana Goswami's disappearance day, he went to the samadhi and he gave a donation, and the pujari there gave him a little jasmine garland. You see, these garlands are very popular these days. Now it's rainy season, very popular. So the pujari gave him this garland. But this was 1977. Prabhupada was very ill. So he came back, he went in Prabhupada's house, and he told Prabhupada, this is the garland from Sanatana Goswami's samadhi. And Prabhupada put it to his head, and he said, this is a gift from the spiritual worlds. This is a gift from the spiritual world. So by the constant labor and study and literature of Sanatana Goswami and all the Goswamis, we're here sitting on this Guru Purnima day in this holy place. Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir at the lotus feet of Gaurnitai, Krishna Balaram, Sri Radha Shyam Sundar. Mahaprabhu, by going to Ramakeli, he changed the whole course of Vaishnava history. And we're able to sit here. So it's also Guru Purnima means appearance of Vyasadev. Vyasadev is also Brishbasi. As we know, Krishna, Dvaipayana. Dvipa means island. He appeared in an island in the Jamuna. There was one great Rishi, Parasara Rishi, we hear about him many times. He wanted to cross the Jamuna, but the boatman wasn't there. The boatman's daughter was there, Satyavati. So she was taking him across the river. At that time, by his mystic power, he could understand that any child engendered at that moment would be a powerful devotee. So he proposed to Satyavati that they joined together. Of course, she had faith, but she said, well, anyway, but there's so many sadhus performing their bhajan here, we do this. So he made a huge fog all around the island. And they united together. And it wasn't ordinary, just like we have to wait for 9 months, 10 months. Just like old days. When I was young, you used to take pictures, and then you have to take the film to the developer and get it developed, and then you finally got the pictures. Then they came out with this Polaroid camera. You took the picture, and you waited a few seconds, and pulled it out, and you saw, oh, not like nowadays, you click and you just look immediately. So he was Polaroid baby like that. Click, and he just came out of the womb. But he told his mother, says, don't worry, whenever you need me, you just think of me, I'll come. And he went on his way. That was Sri Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. He was born in the Jamuna, island in the Jamuna. So this is a very special day. Most people, especially the Mayavadis, they like to celebrate, they like to worship their Guru on this day. Of course, we follow the system that we do Vyas Puja on the appearance day. But for most people, this is the day they worship their Gurus and everything. Everybody comes here to Vrindavan to see their Gurus. So anyway, it's getting late. Later we have program for Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj and wonderful feast this evening. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Vyasadeva ki, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pada ki, Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki, Jai Go Premanande.